6 months ago, Bob Costa, a young political reporter at the Post, and I interviewed Trump. And I want to go through this, and the transcript of this is online and so forth, and it was quite an experience. Trump wanted to do it on the phone. We said no. He said, okay, we'll do it at his new hotel on Pennsylvania Avenue. At this time, it was undergoing renovation. And if the experience was, he talked about lots of things. It's kind of a garage sale of ideas. You listen to them, they're incomplete. You look around like at a garage sale, you know, where's that Rembrandt in the corner? There wasn't one in this interview. And he said he said, for instance, I bring out rage in people. And he said that with pride. He said that he was pessimistic about the economic future of the country. At one point, as we're asking kind of, how would you describe yourself? And he said, I am the Lone Ranger. And I think that's true. I think that Trump, in his own mind, he's the masked man who rides in on his horse and is going to do justice. What we don't know is who's Tonto. But then I have never interviewed anyone who is quite the master of measuring the reaction to himself, if you know what I mean. And I've talked to other people who've worked with Trump for decades, and they said, this is what Trump is. In a room, he can measure the reaction to himself with a kind of stunning precision. And it is amazing. So he goes up to the edge with certain ideas, and then you can kind of see, even reporters are kind of, you know, what's this? You bring out rage in people. And we kept pushing him on this point that we noted, and I think this is borne out in history, that all successful politics is coalition building. You've got to bring others in. You've got to expand. And we asked him about this, and he said, yeah, but not yet. And then we'd push on this, well, when do you start? And he said, yeah, my family keeps saying I should act presidential. And it's okay, when? And he said, no, not yet. And he just resisted that with compulsions and confession here. I thought after we wrote a story on this and published the whole transcript, he was finished, quite frankly, because he said things like he has said in public, no reaction. It was kind of, okay, Trump gave another interview. He said these things. It's astonishing the extent to which it was not absorbed. So I took the transcript and sent it to a good friend of mine who's one of the country's most renowned psychiatrists, and said, what do you think? And he said, well, I can't say anything. And I said, no, read it. You've seen Trump on television. I want to know, who is this guy? And so my friend called me back and said, okay, I've read it. I'm going to tell you what I think. But if you ever give anyone my name, I will kill you. So this comes without a name. But one of the great psychiatrists, I said, so who is this guy? And he said, look, there is a kind of self-focus and narcissism in Trump that I'd never seen before, except over the decades 8 times in my patients. And he said, you can argue that the kind of self-focus and narcissism is a condition for people in political life. A lot of people are this way, but he said, not like Trump. I said, well, tell me, what do you mean? He said, look, I've treated 8 people over the decades who've had this problem, and there's a formal diagnosis, I'm not going to give it to you because it's too repeatable, but it's narcissistic and self-focus. And my friend said, so of those 8 people, 4 of them I treated for years, worked on it, maximum effort, and the result, I barely moved the needle on their behavior. And I said, okay, and he said, in the cases, the other 4, I worked on it for years and years, and they moved the needle on my behavior. In a sense, that's all you need to know. Trump has come on the scene with a kind of velocity and fierceness that we have never seen before. What does it mean?